I don't want to hurt you, but I have to protect myself. Locked In is a Netflix original from director Noah Wazi, who's done shorts as well as a movie called Murder Manual and a few other projects. Check out his IMDb page for the full list of his work. Written by Rowan Hoffe, who did Tin Star and The Informer. Licky Boom Boom Down is Informer. This is The Informer that came out in 2019. Famke Johnson is in this as Catherine, not Catherine the Great, though a horse is involved. It's a deep cut for history fans. And I've loved Miss Johnson since GoldenEye. Sweet fucking Christ. That was an awakening for me. Just finding out some of the stuff I was into. And if you know her character from GoldenEye, you goddamn get it. 14-year-old me was in love with her. 42-year-old me is still in love with her. She's incredible. Great actress. Looks incredible. Great genetics. The fact that she's almost 60 and is ageless. Great for her. But no, I always love seeing her in projects. And I was excited to see what she would bring to Locked In. A Netflix original just got shoved out basically yesterday. It's like they're like, okay, let's just dump it out. So she comes from a rich household, shall we say. Even though she's a famous TV and movie actress, she also married into some money. But that kind of, spirals a little bit out of control after the death of her husband. And now she's in this catatonic state where Nurse Nikki, played by Anna Friel, who's from Timeline, and you may recognize her from other stuff, but a lot of people will recognize her from Timeline. Timeline wasn't all that great, even though it wasn't the cast's fault. Nurse Nikki doesn't understand how Catherine got in this situation and wants some help from Lena, but doesn't understand why Lena won't help Nurse Nikki. Oh, Nurse Nikki, help Nurse Nikki. Lena is the adopted daughter, played by the incredibly gorgeous, my God, she's gorgeous, Rose Williams. I mean, seriously, she looks great. She was in The Power, which was a great Shudder original. I encourage you guys to check out. There's also a doctor played by Alex Hossel, and Jamie, who's stepson, played by Finn Cole. So there's at least some good, there are some good components to the cast. And then from there, basically, we just start in the present day, and then we have a flashback to 5 years ago, and then we have a flashback in the flashback 13 years ago to explain more stuff of this paper-thin plot and look. This is basically just a bit above The Tutor, in the sense that at least you can laugh at a couple of the moments and appreciate a couple of things this one tried to build. The Tutor just really got goddamn ridiculous and bonkers, especially in this third act. And I'm not saying this one doesn't. There are no redeeming characters Locked In at all. It is actually goddamn ridiculous how unlikable every single person is, because everybody, anytime they try to make any of them likable, you're like, no, I don't buy into this. This is really dumb. What the hell is going on here? Why are you trying to make me like these clearly unlikable characters? Locked In syndrome, by the way, refers to basically being aware of your surroundings, but your body can't respond. Like, I mean, you're just, physically, you are just limited, or you may recover, you may never recover. And that would be something horrifying. That would be great to explore. This movie doesn't really bother to explore that. It gives you the bare bones of an idea, and then has the bare bones of a plot that is stretched out for 95 minutes when it has enough material for 30. And it's so obvious who is responsible for all this stuff and all these horrible acts and everything. I'm just going to get into spoilers here because there's really not all that much to reveal. Not a lot of characters either, shockingly, ironically, despite the star power. On Netflix, 3, 2, 1, and spoilers. Okay. So Catherine loses her husband. The husband leaves the estate to his son Jamie, so that's her stepson. I want you to keep that in mind. She knew Lena's mother, and they were friends, and then they grew apart and everything, and Lena basically was, let's just say Lena's mother kind of went away from her and just said, I don't really want to do or have anything to do with you. And the big problem of this whole thing is it's so obvious where they're going with this. Now, mind you, that's revealed later on in the goddamn movie. There's a doctor, played by Alex Hossel, who is prescribing Jamie some medications because he suffers from seizures. And there's some painkillers and some oxy and stuff like that really you should only take here and there, if at all. But yeah, he suffers from seizures, and let's just say he drinks it. Oh yeah, another thing. During all these flashbacks and all this stuff, there's a little bit of a bond between the young Jamie and the young Lena, and then they end up married. I'm sorry that I know it's not by blood. That's a little bit gross. That's a little bit gross. Sorry. You grew up in the same goddamn household and had been under the same roof for a little bit. No, I don't know. I mean, I guess since, Famke Johnson isn't actually her, isn't her mother, isn't her mother, and just as a friend of the mother, but I don't know, just something about that didn't quite click with me. Jamie's not doing all that well. We see this. Lena is losing it, trying to make this work and not really live her life. The doctor shows up. It's obvious the doctor is going to prey on her because the doctor is a GP, whatever that means in the goddamn UK. I don't know. I do want to say Famke Johnson, even though I really like her, her accent in this is not all that great. It's not all that great at all, unfortunately. I don't know if they just did one take and said, yeah, that's great. Go ahead and do that. So the doctor and Lena get together, obviously. Why the fuck wouldn't they? And even though they try twisty-turny stuff where maybe Catherine is responsible for this stuff, what the hell? Maybe Lena's responsible. No, it actually turns out that everybody's responsible because everybody is a really bad person. I shall explain in due course. None of the dialogue really works. Everybody's just kind of sleepwalking through their goddamn roles. And yeah, everybody had parental issues. Lena accuses Jamie of using his sickness just to get attention. And then during the various times where Rose Williams and Alex Harl's character or Hassel's character are together, which, hey, getting a chance to be with her, I mean, who would turn that down? He comes up with the idea, hey, let's knock off the family. You are married into the family to get the house. You'll get this. It'll be an estate. It'll be great. And we'll live happily ever after. It just turns out the doctor's using her. They get on a boat, the lake boat, and because Jamie can't swim, they do a thing where they tip the stuff over and Jamie ends up dying. And Lena's obviously haunted by this because she loved Jamie, but yeah, again, somebody that she grew up with, I don't know, just something about that didn't quite work for me. I got to get off of that. Nikki keeps trying to discover all this stuff that's going on and says to Lena, I know that you did something, or maybe the doctor was using you, and the doctor was using her this whole time just to get the money. It's like the Screaming Skull, except the Screaming Skull at least had charm and also was an MST3K episode, if you guys get that. And Lena basically eventually gets upset at Catherine because she sees Catherine and the doctor together. Says to the doctor, I thought you loved me. So how did Catherine get in this particular, place? How did she get in this particular state? She rode horses. We see that through one particular goddamn part. And then she's riding her horse. She's about to shoot Lena, but then the doctor drives by in his vehicle and she shoots out one of his tires. Remember that she shoots out one of his goddamn tires. Just hang on there for a second. So Lena escapes, and then this is after, by the way. Lena and the doctor have kidnapped Catherine and are going to poison her with a bunch of drugs at the house. After the nurse and other people knew that Catherine was at the hospital, and even though she was maybe checked out, their names would have been on the goddamn thing, so that's goddamn ridiculous right there. But they're going to drug her and kill her, and then she's in this catatonic state. She does manage to blink enough to say murder, basically spell all these letters, with this this letter chart and everything, and then give her crushed up morphine and kill her. And the nurse ends up calling Lena to say, hey, this is what happened. She tried to stop him from killing you, even though she had said multiple times that she just thinks that that Lena is there to take Catherine's money and estate. That might have been the case. She might have felt like she deserved it for putting up with a very sick individual that she married into, even though she was with this family and saw all that. But nevertheless, she tried to stop her from that, and then got run over by a guy that had a blown out tire on his car. And then she basically injects the doctor with the morphine needle instead of Catherine. And even though he tries to inject her, she stabs him in the chest with a knife. And then that's it. F. It gets an F. It's terrible. It's not good. Locked In is really, really bad. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Whitland. I'll see you soon.